Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Media Mania Podcast. I'm your host, as always, the Media Maverick, Mike Weldon. And tonight I'm joined by a very special guest, the one and the only, the leader of the Conji Club, Conji himself. Conji, welcome to the show.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for having me. And hello to all the wrestling fans that have tuned into the Media Mania Podcast. It's great to be here.
I just gotta say, I love the suit. I love everything, the aesthetic. I love like the jacket and just everything I've seen from like you're a man of very rich taste.
Oh, thank you very much. I try to dress the part. I think that's a very important aspect of, this business that we love so much. It's very important to dress the part, right? And so
it is.
As a commentator, as a ring announcer, I feel that I'm like the envoy, I'm the liaison between the promotion and the fans, and so I'm the first accessible personality that they can come in contact with. So like they say, impressions, first impressions are very important. And that's what I try and bestow.
So how did you get your start in the business? I know we talked a little bit off camera about it, but I want to hear more in detail because I know I'm also very intrigued to hear about this one story you were telling me about. I'm intrigued to hear the full story about your one experience at the Scorpion King. I think it was like premiere with Dwayne Johnson. I'm intrigued to hear it.
Yes, we'll get to that. So you can tell I'm a little bit older. So I haven't been in the wrestling business all my life, but I used to watch wrestling with my grandfather back in the 80s. And so, I'm watching George the Animal Steele, Ric Flair, the Great Kabuki. These are the personalities that I was first witnessing on syndicated television. So it was all very exciting, but when my grandfather passed away, it kind of lost that special feeling. So life goes on, life gets in the way, but somehow I've always been in the orbit of the entertainment business. And when I moved to Nashville, I was working in Cummins Station, and TNA at the time was down. They had a training facility down in the basement level, which I worked down in. But I was at a sign company, and I think their office was on the third floor. And the first time that I kind of get reintroduced to wrestling is when I moved to Nashville, and I was printing sponsor logos on the canvas, and then they would have the canvas sewn up. I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was like a 5-hour energy drink or something like that. And and then I did some logos for I think Middle Tennessee Wrestling Federation. So I that was kind of like my reintroduction, firsthand with wrestling. But it's actually my son who sparked my interest, because he was interested in becoming a professional wrestler after he went to the last match for Ric Flair. And on the way home, he's like, "Dad, I want to do that." And I was like, "What? Like, where am I going to take him, right? To be trained?" And that's another story, and maybe we'll touch on it a little bit. But I found a facility in Hendersonville, and so I asked, "How old is your oldest student?" And he says, "You'd make a really good manager." And so I've been in and out of the entertainment business, for most of my life. And I was like, "Tell me more," So that's how I kind of got into it, wanting to be a manager, but ended up being commentator. And that it worked out for the best for me. Trained,
Yeah, it has. And just based on like the pictures I've gotten to see of you in your suits and all that, what era of wrestling influenced like the style that you like, the suits you wear, like I know you were talking about you grew up in the era of like Ric Flair and George the Animal Steel. Did like Ric Flair have any like kind of influence in the way you dress? Because you've seen how he dressed. He wears
Yeah.
the very fancy suits.
Oh,
He has
yes,
he has the Rolex watch.
absolutely. He's living the gimmick, you know. Yeah. Well, I like to be a bit more. I like to be contemporary, but I like to fall back on things that they're so old they might as well be brand
Mhm.
new, right?
Yes.
I
Mhm.
hope that makes sense because throughout whatever industry that you're in, whether you're a magician like I was, or you're an actor, or you're a comedian, the people that have come before you have paved the path for you, right?
Yeah.
But in the span of time, there are things that are classic that work still,
Mhm.
right? And so
Yeah.
this phrase I learned from a magician named Michael Amar, that go back into the old books because they're
Mhm.
so old, they might as well be brand new. That's always resonated with me ever since I heard that. And I've applied it in every aspect of my life as I possibly can. And I try and do that with what I wear as a wrestling personality, to
Yeah.
present myself as professionally as possible, where I stand out just enough, right, from
Mhm.
ordinary people or the ordinary world, so that I can make a good first impression.
Yeah. So, what is you've been in the business how long now? I didn't get to see a lot of stuff. I tried to look up as much as I could about you, but I couldn't find any like hard like stuff to read, like a definite day that you got into the business, like that
Ooh.
you started.
Mm. Um, it was probably about 2 weeks after Ric Flair's last match, so just a couple of years. I've been in it for a few years.
Okay.
Um, I've done. I've worked with a great broadcast team when we were doing Crush Live here in
Mhm.
Hendersonville. Now I'm working with Aaron Camaro and Mr. Michael Green at CHW in Springfield.
Yep.
And I'm also working with Jermaine Alston, who everybody might know as Seven, with Music City Pro Wrestling.
Mhm.
Also working with Aaron Camaro.
So, how is it getting to work with CHW and Music City Pro Wrestling? And I know you probably work with various other promotions around the Middle Tennessee area, correct?
Yeah, well, I was trained at FXC, and we had a
Hmm.
show called Crush Live, um, and we did several shows, two top-notch shows at the Bluegrass Yacht and Country Club here in Hendersonville. I mean, we brought in LED walls and lights, lasers, hazers. It was really something spectacular, but
Yeah.
very expensive. Um, then we moved to another facility for the remainder of our shows. Um,
Okay.
I think that there are only a few promotions, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but I feel that the independent scene is something that fans really, really need to concentrate on, because um, they're going to get more bang for their buck.
All
If
right.
they
Definitely.
want to go to the big shows, say on Monday or Friday, um,
Hmm.
prices are astronomical at this point, and it
They
costs
are.
so much money for fans to go and enjoy something that they want. So I really
Hmm.
encourage fans to um, to look out for the independent wrestling promotions. Whether you're all the way down in Tullahoma, you've got TAP, you've got
Yep.
the Gypsy Joe Arena. In Springfield, you've got CHW. In Nashville, you've got Symphony. You've got Music City Pro Wrestling. Uh,
Hmm.
I mean, if you go to any type of larger shows, maybe you're going to Pro Wrestling Entertainment. Maybe you're going to
Yep.
Chase Stevens' new promotion that he started. Right? There's a lot of stuff
Hmm.
going on in Middle Tennessee right now. It's so exciting, and I wish I could get my fingers, into each one of those pies, right, and just kind of, you
Hmm.
know, get involved as much as I can. But I don't like to impose myself. Um,
Yeah.
I have great respect for a number of promotions. Even if I just go and help out, set up the ring, I don't mind that, because I might learn something that is, it might be profound, it might be very sublime, right? But it's going to stick in my memory, and I'm going to apply it, for the next experience. I think my point of view is very unconventional to say seasoned veterans that have been in this business. Not to say that I'm right, but I just think I have a different perspective, and I try and
understand. Of course.
Well, I think that's very important to tell anybody that is new to this business. Is that it's a business that you need to learn how to navigate it, and it can be very difficult. It's not, you don't have an HR department, you can't, there's no one to complain to. It's a body business. It's all about, it's larger than life. So look larger than life, but learn to stay in your lane. And when an opportunity arises, think about it. If you want to take it up, put everything you got behind it, right?
Yeah.
Ask, within reason, if you're capable of, but you can open up doors and get another opportunity.
Oh yeah. It can open up so many doors. Like when I started doing this podcast, I didn't believe I'd have the guests I have just reaching out to me, wanting to come on here and just share their story. I expected maybe to get a couple of guests, but now I'm getting like 20, 30 guests a month just hitting me up saying, hey, I want to come on here. I want to tell my story. I'm like, really? You want to come on my show? That's amazing. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, like when you reached out to me, I was like, man, here's a guy he's starting, this podcast, and, who am I? Who am I to say, oh, no, I don't, no, I'm excited about this. I'm excited about Media Mania. How far can it go? What type of brand, how are you going to grow? That excites me, because I know that it's going to be great for you, but ultimately it's going to be great for fans, to stay informed. It's going to be great for workers that are coming up and learning stuff. You might have a very instrumental guest, that has something very important, that they've never heard before, but it changes the course of their wrestling career. You see, that's the way I look at it. I'd like to look down the road ahead, right? And, about the possibilities.
So you were talking about FXC. That, from the research I did, I got to see about you and your time in the business. That's run by Jerry Lynn, correct?
Well, I don't want to get into the specifics of the FXC story.
Okay.
I think it's best for me to not maybe talk about that, because it's somewhat controversial the way it all ended.
Okay.
But it may, how about this? Everybody go and look it up, right? You don't need to hear it from me. Okay. I have removed myself from that promotion. Others have done the same, and for good reason. But I'll tell you something. What happened is that a great family was forged in the rings of FXC. Bonds made, and they probably will never be broken. There are some fantastic performers that got training there. They started their training, right? I can tell you that, Colby Carter, Ray Bruce.
Code.
Yeah. What's her name? Danny Sikelski, who, has now made her debut on NXT. There's Rachel Ray, Leroy Jones. Tavon Jordan and Majestic. Absolutely. Country Boy Coots. Okay. Let me see. My son Willem, Jim Bro, Party Panda. Then there's some others that are the Blacklist Brawlers,
Okay.
Ashton Pachuki and Chad. I can't remember his last name, but the Blacklist Brawlers, they got their start there, and there are more that are
Yeah.
coming. Mount Kadim. He's a champion for OVW right now, I believe. Let me see who else. The Goth Knight.
Yeah. And
Hold on, I can't remember. I can't forget these two. Philip Lee, Artemis V.
yeah.
St. James, Alex Chicano Kid Hernandez, right?
Yep.
There was so much talent that was in there, right? That we could have, if we had the right backing, I think that you would have seen a locker room like no other before in Middle Tennessee. But we're on to better things.
Yeah. The reason I asked, I only got to see one show of theirs. It was in Portland, Tennessee. It was in May. I think it was either last year or the year before that. Because PW was supposed to run. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's that's the last show I ever heard them run.
Yeah, it was a great experience. Lots of pops, and I think everybody that participated got over. We were supposed to be going back the following year, but the way things unfolded, that just didn't happen.
Okay. So how did you come up with the name Conji? Like, how did that come to be?
Okay, Mike, I used to play vintage baseball. I don't know if you've heard of the Tennessee Association of Vintage Baseball, but this is a league that grew to, I believe, 10 teams across Tennessee, mostly in East and Central Tennessee. But we played 1864 rules, and that means no gloves, right?
Yeah.
Back then, every baseball player kind of had a nickname, so that was one of the things that every player had was a nickname. And because I was a close-up magician, I chose something that was a little bit more antiquated, and I chose the name The Conjurer. But my teammates, they whittled it down, and it became shorter, and eventually it just became Conji, and it's stuck ever since.
It's unique. I like it. I never I've seen so many names, so many unique names in Conji. I had never. You hear other people put stuff in front of club. You have Bullet Club or this club, that club, but Conji Club. That's I've never. Unique.
Well, you can see behind me. I've got a I've got a little bit of a home gym studio here, and this is actually Conji Club. So I have I was a personal trainer for a while, and so I've got this really sweet home gym, and this is Conji Club where I would train people. So
that is very cool.
Thank you.
So, are there any plans for 2026 and the rest? For the rest of 2026.
For me, I'm sorry, you broke up there.
I was asking, for the rest of 2026, where do you see Conji and Conji Club going for the rest of 2026?
Well, Conji Club, I'm not training anybody. I invite people. Like, they may ask, "Hey, can I come and have a session with you?" So people will either ask for a session here at Conji Club, where I'll put them through some rather unique training techniques that I have. But for me, for Conji, I'm thoroughly booked with CHW. We'll return to Music City Pro Wrestling in June. And so if there's an opportunity that pops up, I'll take it. It's just one of those things that we all aspire for, is another rep, another experience, get better, hopefully move on, but the promotions that I'm working with, God, I'm having so much fun, and you really can't put a price on that. Working
No,
with
you can't.
Jermaine Alston, my other broadcast partner Rich Black, my current broadcast partner Andrew Becker, who you may know as Captain Feathersword, who not only is he a worker, but he's a champion ballroom dancer. Working with these characters is unique and onto themselves, just a wonderful experience. And I'm not going to, I can't talk about my current broadcast partners without really thanking my previous broadcast partners, Austin, who goes by the name of Dr. Four Eyes, and Matt Clark. So without those two guys, I probably wouldn't ever feel comfortable, calling matches. So.
Of course, yeah. You can't go forward without remembering where you came from. So, what is the day in life like for Conji when you have a show? Like, is there a routine you go through, like before you get to a show, when you're at the show, and after the show?
Sure. Well, I like to show up early. And I encourage that for anybody who is a worker in whatever capacity. Show up early. So pay attention to your call time. Show up earlier than that. My show day actually starts the evening before. So what is I'll pick out my outfit. I'll pack it up. Maybe I'll load it into the car so I'm good to go. That way I can relax in the morning. Focus on the show ahead. Go to the show. Receive the card. Talk to Aaron Camaro. See if there's any promos that need to be shot. Maybe I'll go around. I'll talk to the workers and see if there's anything that I need to discuss while calling their match. Add a little story, a little flavor to it. But before the show, I typically like to go around and talk to the fans that have shown up. I might do maybe 2 or 3 rounds just to kind of warm up and get an idea. What are they? Are they excited to see a particular wrestler? Are they a first time fan here? I want to hear their stories. That's very important to me because it not only loosens me up, but when I go back to the table, I might have something interesting to call, while there's a match going on, right? But I think one of the things that I really get a kick out of is fan experience, because that's very important to me. Because like I said in the beginning, I'm the first person that they come in contact with, besides, someone who's greeting them, taking the ticket, or usher that's seating them, right? But I'm the first person that's part of the show that is that they can they're accessible to, right? Last show, I had a 4-year-old kid who he was telling me something. I couldn't hear him, so I asked him to come to the barricade, and he rushed up, and I was like, whoa, hey, take it easy there, right? And he got a little puffed up, and it was a perfect opportunity just to have an interaction with this young fan, first time there at CHW, and I played off of it. And he and I are talking. We generate a little heat, right? I tell him that now we eat, and I go, how old are you? He says 4. Right? I said, all right, 14 years, you and me in the ring. We're gonna settle this, right? he starts to flex. He gets down on the floor. He does a push-up, right? I'm getting security involved. You know, all the adults are having a blast. The kid is having a blast. You know, that's something that is important to me. And I'll tell you why, right? Because we have to foster the new fans, right?
Yeah.
I don't have to concentrate on an adult, okay? But if I've got a younger first time there, I want their experience to be top notch. I want them to go home with a memory. And this is why.
Yeah.
Because when and I'm dating myself here, there was a show called Kids Are People Too. And it was hosted by a gentleman named Bob McAllister. And Kids Are People Too came to my hometown. And I wanted to go. So my mom, and I must have been, oh gosh, I was probably in third grade maybe, sitting up in the residence. Bob McAllister's calling up kids to participate in the games. I'm raising my hand. I'm not getting, right? I take it upon myself to go down.
Yeah.
I walk up the aisle, I get up on stage, and I interrupt everything, right? This is my introduction to show. So he was gracious enough to take the time to interact with a young child who didn't know any better, but he made a lasting impression on me.
Yeah,
that's what I want to do. I want to try and make a lasting impression on fans, so that they can always say, they can always remember something. You know, that's not only my part, but that's the part of the in-ring talent as well. You know, so
yeah, I appreciate that 100%. It's something you don't see a lot of anymore.
yeah.
So, what about like after, like, how late do you stay after a show? Like, do you help take the ring down? Do you leave right after the show ends? And like, depending on where you're traveling for a show, do you ever get like a hotel, or do you just drive the whole way back home?
Well, I'm actually pretty local to every promotion that I've been a part of right now. So show up early. At CHW, I show up early, and the ring's already set up. They've got a really good crew there, so I probably should stay and tear it down a little bit more often. But yeah, I mean, Pro Wrestling Symphony, we just helped them out, set up the ring, break it down, it's not a big deal. It's much better for a group of guys, even if they're workers, in the ring. Like it's really a good idea just to carry a few pieces of metal out or a couple of boards. It's not, when you've got more people doing it, it goes by like a breeze.
Oh yeah, it definitely. Like, I've gotten to see rings put up and tear down a couple times when I've gone to shows, and you have 10, 11, 12 people doing it all at once. It gets done a whole lot faster.
Yeah, it sure does.
So I want to ask this. You said you used to make stuff for TNA, their sponsor logos. Did you ever get a chance to interact with either Jeff Jarrett or Jerry Jarrett?
Unfortunately, I never got to interact with Jerry Jarrett. But I have had several interactions with Jeff, and I'm in Hendersonville. He's in Hendersonville. He would visit FXE from time to time. A number of workers and myself got invited to try and break in an AEW ring before it got shipped out to Texas. Saw Jeff. I really like talking to Jeff. I can understand. I mean, he's very instrumental in my son's pursuit in becoming a pro wrestler. And I'm appreciative of that. And I feel a little bit of some sort of fealty to to him in part of gratitude. Here's a guy who's, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a third generation legend. He's worked his ass off. Okay. Right. And when you come in contact with somebody like Jim, I think it's important to understand, first of all, he's a human being. Okay. Him like a human being. Okay.
Yeah.
He's got his life, his own problems, his own things in life, just like anybody else. Right. So give him the respect, I'm not going to mark out for him,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm too old to do that, but I appreciate him. And just to be able to go in and break in a ring for AEW, that was fun. That's a wonderful experience. I something that my son and I got to do together. That's, you don't get a whole lot of experiences like that offered to you.
No, you don't.
So, I would love to work with Jeff, and I'm excited to hear about new schools that are opening. Hopefully Jeff opens up a school soon. We know that Catch Pro Wrestling Academy is going to open soon. So what I'm seeing right now is Tennessee, specifically Middle Tennessee, is definitely going to become a hot spot for professional wrestling, as I think it should be, as it's part of the nation. It's accessible to all corners of where a promotion is. So, no, let me just go back to Jeff. He, Karen, the kids, they're all wonderful. I've never had a bad interaction with them. Only heard good things. So
did you I didn't mean to. I was just going to ask, did you get a chance to go to or either work the show he did in Hendersonville? Because I don't know if you got to see the documentary that came out. I think it was a week or so ago. It was on the CW, and apparently, in just almost 40-year career, he had never worked or ran a show in Hendersonville. Because apparently, from what his father told him, you never run a show in your own backyard.
Well, this might have been an exception, because it was actually, not only did I help set up, right, but we broke it down as well, and I thought it was a great success. The turnout was great. Conrad Thompson showed up. Had a nice chat with him. Big Papa Corn. Let me see. Just a lot of personalities came out, in support, and I thought it was a great show. Does it again.
That was one of those shows I regretted having to miss. I had a prior engagement, but from the stuff I got to see on social media, it looked like an awesome turnout.
Oh yeah, it was. It absolutely was, and I hope they do it again. We'll have to see. Maybe they will.
So, do you have I know when wrestlers go to shows, they have their merch tables and all that set up because I know what they get from the promoter isn't always enough to cover their expenses. But do you have or plan to have merch in the future?
Oh, Michael, I'm so glad you asked. Because I am trying out something. And, Jesse Fields, who is a incredible referee, he's traveled the world. Right? I think he's a NASA engineer. The referees got merch, right? So I thought, let me dabble in this, and let me see if I can, come up with something that's successful. So on, and I don't know when this is going to be released, but on March 14th at the CHW show in Springfield, Tennessee, I'll be handing out Conji stickers.
Okay.
And I've got some 8x10s that I've got. I'll be giving out those, as well as some minis. We'll see what happens, but it's just something to it's not from my ego, it's for the fans. So, it's a body business. It's about looks. It's about branding, right? Ring announcers and commentators shouldn't be left out of that.
No.
If you can make a little extra scratch, at a show by having some 8x10s and some stickers, go for it. It's not going to hurt.
No,
so
it's not.
That's what I've got coming out, and we'll see I'll get feedback from the fans. They like the sticker, they don't like the sticker, they like those 8x10s. Maybe they'll give me something, and I'll be like, yeah, that's a good idea. I think I might try that.
So, in your opinion, what is the biggest misconception that fans have with commentators and ring announcers? Like, what is the biggest misconception in your opinion that fans don't get to see what goes on with commentators and ring announcers when the cameras are not rolling?
Well, maybe they think that we know what's going to happen. We don't necessarily know what the outcome's going to be. That can also change by crowd reaction. Maybe there's an agent in the back that's calling it, and the referee is relaying that to the workers, the wrestlers, and it might be based on fan reaction. Maybe they intended someone else to go over, but the fans are just not going to have that, and so they might change something. They might do an audible and change the finish. We don't know. That is, to us, it's not scripted. We have to inject our own personality to bring vibrance to the, we flourish. We add little flourishes to what you're watching. We fill up the dead air, right? We tell you about the
course.
Tell you, you can do, the whole rundown. Hip toss, shoulder tackle, hip toss, leapfrog, whatever, right? But I don't like to be a technical wrestler. I don't like to call wrestling as technically. I like to be kind of like I said, the liaison between the wrestling promotion and that, right? So I'm a normal person, right? I should call things like a normal person would react, but maybe dabble a little bit in calling something technically, right? My style, I'm trying to dial it in where it's like, of course, we've had great announcers throughout the decades in wrestling, but I like to bring something a little I like to bring in some influence from the outside of the wrestling world. And because I played baseball, it's voices like Vin Scully, right, who called for the dog all of his life. It's Harry Carey, calling for the Chicago Cubs, right? It's Howard Cosell. Those guys had, they were kind of on the, well, they were somewhere within the years of the transatlantic accent. Cary Grant. He had a transatlantic, right? And I kind of draw old personalities for inspiration, so I can dial in my own style, make it unique to myself.
Okay. So, let's see. So do you ever plan on managing your? No, I was trying to figure out how to word this the right way. I know you're talking about your son wanting to get into pro wrestling. Is there ever a plan for you to manage your son? Like, come out with him for a match, like as a manager in one of his matches?
There's currently no plan for it, but if the story is right, you know, I don't mind. I don't mind, you know, being brought into a story as long as it makes sense. You know, we've tried to, up until now, we've tried to keep it under wraps that Willem is my son, because no one, you know what I mean, like, but now he's been billed as Willem Baird, and of course my Facebook, you know, says James Baird, so maybe people put two and two together, but as long as the story makes sense, you know.
So y'all were kind of doing like how Jerry Lawler did with his son Brian Christopher, where they weren't really acknowledging that they were father and son.
Right. Yeah. I mean, kayfabe is, I don't know. I think kayfabe is it's, I don't think it's entirely dead. Veterans will tell me it's dead. But what I'm thinking now, the new kayfabe, which I define as keep all your fans believing everything, right? You know, the days of, you know, the wild Samoans being put into a cell for, you know, having a handgun while being pulled over and then staying within character and not speaking, you know, those days are over, right? But I think the new kayfabe is going to make itself known through social media posts, you know, injuries that are reported. I think there's a way that it can kind of be brought back, but it would be so difficult. I wish it wasn't the case, because I've also, like, as a magician, it's also another business that, you know, likes to protect itself, right? And you know, the cat's out of the bag when it comes to magic. You know, cat's out of the bag when it comes to wrestling as well. So I can draw parallel lines between the two industries.
Of course. So the suits you wear and the style you look, like the suits and the styles of the suits you like to wear, do you have like a certain person that makes them for you, or do you just buy them and have them altered at a later point?
Well, currently I don't have anybody making gear for me. So I like to go out to, you know, to real retail outlets and, you know, see what they've got. Maybe, or, you know, this one I can't remember where I bought it from, but I have another really nice suit that I got from, I don't know, I got it from, I don't know, Guess or something, like Guess for Men or something like that. But you know, I like to mix, you know, as long as it's clean, as long as it fits me, you know, I think it's fine. You know, I wear a pendant. I wear my watch. You know, that's to be that larger than life character, because that's what wrestling is. You know, it's a larger than life.
Larger than life, yeah.
So look the part.
You have to look the part. You have to look like you have to look the role you're playing.
Absolutely.
So you were telling me about it a little bit about it off air, and I've been waiting to hear it. Like, what? And you brought it up just a minute ago. Like, what is the story? Like, I know you have your little Dwayne Johnson story with the Scorpion King. I've been dying to hear that story.
Okay. So I was aware of who The Rock was, but I wasn't following. I wasn't following WWF at the time. But I was aware. You know, I knew the names, but I just wasn't following. That all goes back to, you know, not having my grandfather around to watch wrestling with anymore, and, you know, growing up, puberty, life getting in the way, right? But I was I started off working for Regal Cinemas The Escape in Fort Lauderdale in 1999, and I believe it was oh gosh, it might have been 2000 or 2001. No, it wasn't. It was 2000. It was 2000. And I was promoted to assistant promotions director. And my boss had secured
Okay.
an appearance by Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
Because he was going to start doing the press junket for Scorpion King. And so he showed, this is the thing. They said, we don't have a budget to make a banner. So they got this big blank banner material and handed me a bunch of Sharpie markers. And they said, we gotta promote that The Rock is gonna be here. So I'm like, I've got a reference of The Rock, a reference for the WWF logo. I've got the date, the times, and a bunch of Sharpie markers. So I proceed to draw this gigantic banner that gets hung on the escalators. Anyway, so it's the day of his appearance, and he's on the top floor of the Escape, and there's a spiral staircase that goes outside all the way down to the street level. It goes about a block to Las Olas Boulevard. It goes all the way down towards the Performing Arts Center, over the train track, right? He's only scheduled to be there for 2 hours. He comes in, he says hello to everybody, very, very polite. And he stays not only he doesn't stay for 2 hours. He stays for about 4 to 4.5 hours. He gets up to take a break one time, right? And this is where I, right, a young Conji, has to escort The Rock, all right, the most electrifying man in professional wrestling, the people's champion. I have to escort him to the green room that we have prepared for him, right?
Yeah.
So here I am having to kind of part the bodies so that he can make his right. This guy could have done it himself, right? We know that, right?
Yeah.
But I get him into the room. I check on everything. I make sure that the fruit, the vegetables, all the juices are fresh, right? And my buddy, who is the arcade manager, he calls me over and he says, "Hey, do you think I can get a picture with The Rock?" I'm like, "Oh man, I don't know. Let me see." So I go back into the room, and I don't know what to call him. All right, I don't know if I should call him Mr. Johnson. I don't know if I call him DJ. I don't know if I call him Dwayne Rock, Mr. Rock. I don't know. But he's in this gigantic lazy boy chair that we have, that's recessed in an alcove, and all I see are his shoes. And I look over him and I go, "Rock?" And he leans forward, he looks over, and he gives me the eyebrow, right? Right, man, right? And I said, my buddy is the arcade manager, and he wanted to know if, and I don't even get to finish the question. He goes, "Send him in," right? So he comes in, I take a picture, right? He's got a grin from ear to ear, right? And this is the day that I become a Rock fan. Okay, it's not because of his wrestling, it's not because of his acting at that point, right? But it's because he was a genuine human being that took the time to give a fan a moment with him. And he never complained. He didn't have like some crazy rider, he was so genuine, like just very humble, right?
Yeah.
That's the day that I became a Rock fan. So
did you get a picture with him as well before everything was said and done, or an autograph or anything?
No, No, I wish, in retrospect, yeah, I wish, but who knows? Maybe one day our paths will cross again. Who knows, right? But it's a story
Mhm.
that I've told workers, but it's not a story that I've ever told anybody on a show like yours. So it feels really
Yeah.
good share to share this wonderful experience that I not only had but witnessed, with The Rock. What a guy. I mean, he understands, how to he appreciates the fans. He stayed for 4.5 hours,
Yeah.
got up for one break, you know.
Mhm.
A lot of
So
people go to Fanatics Fest, you know.
yeah. Mhm.
You only
So
get a
we
little time.
oh, yeah. So with us living now in the digital age, do you think fan interaction in person and on like social media platforms plays a bigger role on social media than it did maybe 15 years ago?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If I have an example to give you of how fan interaction works via social
Uh-huh.
media, there's one person that I always call out. Okay, and
Yeah.
um, I'm not being disparaging to any other worker, but I'm just going to call out one worker who makes an effort to reach out to fans and make a connection with them, and I've seen it, and it works, right? And that's going to be Tavon Jordan.
Okay.
Tavon Jordan,
Yep.
Royal Prestige, right, is
Hmm.
100% appreciative of his fans, right? And other workers need to take note of that, especially if you're faces. If you're a baby face, you really got to you got to reach out to the fans. You got to give them something. You got to give them a memory, right? You got
Uh-huh.
to make that personal connection with them is very important, because if you don't get the sympathy. You don't get them behind you, right? You know,
Yep.
what's a baby face if he doesn't have a fan base that he can call on? When he's
Uh-huh.
struggling, when he's asking for
Yeah.
that energy, so that he can,
Hmm.
have that comeback, right? If you're not making a
Yeah.
connection with fans, it's pointless.
What are you
What's the
doing?
point behind
Yeah.
it?
What are you doing?
Tavon
Yeah.
Jordan, prime example of how important it is for you to reach out and connect with your fans.
Hmm. So where can fans follow Kanji and support everything you're doing? And when can they see Kanji? I know you have a show coming up this weekend, but what
Mhm.
other dates can fans come and show support to Kanji and just appreciate what you're doing?
Well, don't just appreciate what I'm doing. Please appreciate what what all the workers are doing,
Mhm.
together to bring a pro wrestling experience to fans that they deserve. Right. Um, well, I will be at CHW in Springfield, Tennessee on March 14th at the Armory, which is on 5255 Tennessee, 76, in Springfield, Tennessee. That'll be March 14th for Spring Fling. And then I believe our next show is going to be April 11th at the same location. And I believe in June we'll have, in May there's a show. And then in June, I believe Music City Pro Wrestling will be at the world famous Troubadour in the Opryland area. So um,
Okay.
that's where I'll be, and then people can follow me at Conji Club on Instagram. They can find me
Mhm.
on Facebook, but mostly anything that I post will probably be on Instagram at Conji Club. You know,
Okay. Well, I want to thank you, Kanji, for coming on the show today and just give me a little bit of your time. After, like, I know in the middle of the week, everyone has their, as you say in the biz, your shoot jobs, or as I say, just your regular old day job. So I appreciate you taking some time after your long day, because I know you still have a long week ahead of you. You still have your show this weekend that you have to do. So I appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me today.
well, I really do appreciate you inviting me, and I appreciate what you're doing. Um, I love this. I can have the worst day at my shoot job, right? And like I did
Hmm.
today, right? But I knew I was
Yep.
coming on. I was going to be on the Media Mania podcast, And that is something that got me really excited. So, this is what I live for, is this entertainment industry that we love so much. It's given me so much back that I feel that I need to give back to the business in whatever capacity that I can.
Definitely.
And being on your podcast is just another way for me to kind of give back to something that
it is.
So thank you to you, and thank you to all the the pro wrestling fans that are out there. Because without them, what we're doing here is
it is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever seen the ending of any episode of the Media Mania Podcast, you know how my endings always go. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been your host, as always, the Media Maverick, Mike Weldon. This has been my awesome guest, the leader of the Conji Club, Conji himself. Make sure you check out this episode. And as I say at the end of every episode, make sure y'all catch us on the flip side. And we are out of here.